Hi, everyone. Most videos on forgiveness talk about how to forgive, but today I would like to discuss why it's important to forgive ourselves and others. Some people say the act of forgiveness is more for our own benefit than for the others involved. While that may be true, it still doesn't make it easy for some of us to just quickly or readily forgive ourselves and others. The main benefit of why we need to forgive ourselves and others is to find peace. By holding on to bitterness, resentments, and past grudges, we are allowing our past to hold us hostage and rob us of our joy in the present and future. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of why we need to forgive ourselves and others. Forgiving ourselves can be sometimes challenging to do because it's natural for us to entertain the should haves, could haves, and what ifs after the fact. Hindsight is always 2020, and most of us, if given the chance to do our lives over again, we would certainly choose another path and do things differently. So it takes time to stop beating ourselves up and to realize we did the best we could have given the current circumstances at the time. Let me say that again. So it takes time to stop. So it takes time to stop beating ourselves up and to realize we did the best we could have given the current circumstances at the time. To wallow in self pity, self blame, and living in the past only delays our healing in the grieving process. The sooner we forgive ourselves and let the past go, the sooner we can heal and move forward in peace. The same can be said for forgiving others. For some of us who have been seriously wronged or betrayed by others, forgiving ourselves can be quite challenging and even feel impossible at times. When it comes to forgiving others, we will need to ultimately decide which path we will take, the path of revenge or karma. If you haven't seen my last video called Revenge or Karma, please check it out. This topic really hits home with me because I have been in the grieving process of my truest friend who passed away a few weeks ago. What makes my grief complicated is the risk manager at the hospital. Um, what makes my grief complicated is the risk manager at the hospital misinterpreted his living will. 3 days prior to his passing, while I was in a meeting with the risk manager, I even contacted my friend's personal attorney who drew up the will and included him in our discussion at the meeting. Apparently, the living will had a typo of the word or when it should have said and. And even when his attorney clarified and stated plainly my friend's intent of his will, the risk manager refused to accept the truth and proceeded to disregard the typo and instead made the inhumane, cruel, and unconscionable decision to withdraw the food, water, and medication that ultimately ended the life of my truest friend. The medication was a special blood pressure medicine that was critical to stabilize his low blood pressure. So, in a matter of 3 days, my dear friend had passed. So, let me just stop right here. This is something that I was not going to really want to talk about. I kind of put it off for a few days. Because it was just very troubling to me of what happened where there was obviously a misunderstanding on the living will that my truest friend had, and the risk manager had interpreted something in it that shouldn't have been in there. So even after clarification with the attorney, this woman decided to still proceed forward with withdrawing the food, water, and the medication that my truest friend needed to survive. I wasn't planning to disclose this truth and of what led to the death of my friend, but I wanted to be transparent about what happened because it directly ties in with today's topic of forgiveness. It was worth mentioning so you can understand the overall complexity and my internal struggles to reconcile and forgive the person who I believe was intentionally responsible for the quickened death of my truest friend. This is what makes his passing so tragic and traumatizing for me because these circumstances leading up to his death is beyond shocking. In my opinion, the risk manager is a murderer and will leave it up to karma to balance the wrong committed. Forgiveness is a process, and I don't believe there's a standard time frame to forgive. A lot will depend on everyone and how traumatic the experience was. Injustice is always a hard pill to swallow. For anyone who has lived long enough in this imperfect world, we know life is not fair sometimes, and we have to find a way to come to terms with taking the good with the bad in life. Betrayal is never pleasant, and the sting of betrayal may hurt for a very long time. And truthfully, in my own grieving process, while I have chosen karma to balance out the wrongs regarding the passing of my dearest friend, I'm still working through the incredible grief, shock, and horror of it all. My grief is clearly complicated by the significant loss of my dear friend and the unacceptable, intentional, and evil actions that led to his passing. We are all imperfect humans living in an imperfect world, and facing injustices is an ugly part of life that happens occasionally. We can choose to take the higher road by giving grace and forgiving others, or allowing injustices to overshadow the light within us by repaying evil with evil. As I said in my previous video called Revenge or Karma, two wrongs don't make a right. The best path forward is letting karma balance out the wrongs. By letting go of the temptation to avenge our wrongdoers, we can begin the process of forgiveness and allow time and patience to heal and restore our peace. In summary, forgiveness is a painful and difficult process that we go through in life sometimes. Whether we need to forgive ourselves or forgive others, it's important we recognize and understand why. Peace is why we need to forgive ourselves and others. Unforgiveness keeps us stuck in the past with an unhealthy, toxic mindset, while forgiveness frees us to heal, move forward in a healthy manner in the present and future. And my truest friend, and one of his many wise advice spoken, has said, peace of mind is worth something. So I encourage us to value the importance of peace by choosing always to forgive ourselves and others. Okay, so this was a very short video, but I did want to have the opportunity to talk about it with all of you. And like I said, I am still grieving. I'm still going through the grieving process. It hasn't even been a month yet, and it's been rough. I'm dealing with probate, dealing with all the paperwork in the aftermath of trying to, scheduling a funeral service for my friend, and just taking care of all of those matters. So it's been rough, but I'm hanging in there, and like I said, this topic of forgiveness was a big one for me. It really did hit home with me. As I candidly share with all of you, I really believe he was murdered, and it's it's going to take me a while to actually process all of that. And I know at the end, I need to forgive, and I it's just in this situation, it's going to take me a while. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but it will take me a while to forgive the circumstances, and which I believe he was murdered. So anyhow, if you resonate with this video, please click like and click share. If you have any thoughts or comments you want to add, please add them in the comments below. And if any of you have been wronged and you understand, and you also are going through the same process of trying to forgive others who have wronged you or wronged your loved ones who passed away, please feel free to share your story in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you can be kept up to date with all my videos in the future. Okay? And folks, I just want to say that that we do need to forgive, okay? And in my mind, I understand that in time I must forgive. Because if we don't forgive, we will always be in constant turmoil, and we won't be fully present and happy in the future. And so the whole goal is for grieving is to eventually get to a point of healing so that we can be at peace with ourselves, so that we can move forward in life and also enjoy the present. So, as many of you have gone through this already, you all understand that while you're going through this, it's very difficult to find peace and to reconcile what's happened with the past in relation to in the present, and then to be able to get to the point of peace and forgiveness in the present, to be able to go forward to the future, is definitely a challenge, and I recognize that. And although we all know what the right thing to do is, it's easy to give advice to others and say, yeah, we all have to forgive, but when you're actually in the situation where it's challenging, it is very difficult to get to point A from point A to point B. And so it is going to take some time to process all of this. Okay. So anyway, folks, um, I just want to say that I am hanging in there, and I continue to thank you for your prayers and support and encouragement. And I look forward to I look forward to seeing you all again in my next video. Okay? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.